Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today as we're talking a little bit about WrestleMania 33 and the match that was named on SmackDown this week. Really good match. A lot of people are definitely talking about it. I can honestly tell you that a lot of people are talking about it for negative reasons, maybe thinking that this is the match that AJ Styles does not deserve after holding the championship. Basically, ever since the brand split, I think he won it back in, when did he beat Dean Ambrose? It'd have to be after SummerSlam, so it'd have to be like September, holding it all the way until January. Had a very good championship run, beating Dean Ambrose. Did he fight Ambrose the whole damn time? Wow, that's a long run of Ambrose matches. That's really the only guy I can remember. I know that he won the three-way at No Mercy against John Cena and Dean Ambrose. But the last pay-per-view that I can remember was AJ beating Ambrose in that TLC, involved with the little midget dude, Ellsworth, on the outside, and then basically losing the championship at the Royal Rumble. I honestly thought that Styles should have kept the championship. He should have beat Cena at the Rumble and then lost it at WrestleMania. I thought that AJ Styles delivered. He was able to show off that he was the best wrestler easily, at least in the United States as of right now. And it's almost like I don't think in real life he's doing it, but for the people that were fans of AJ and TNA that knew that WWE was missing out on the boat. There was rumors out there when AJ left TNA that WWE did make offers, but they were low offers. You know, they decided that they were willing to take a chance. They were willing to take a gamble to send him to developmental and try and get him to go. And I remember that Dave Meltzer would report that WWE would think that he would have to be in developmental for almost 2 years, making it 38 by the time he would be able to reach the main roster. Instead, he took those 2 years, went and worked for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and easily upped his game. As good as you thought he was in New Japan, if you've ever seen his stuff from there, it blows the TNA stuff away. I mean, he just stepped his game up, and he was ready to prove. I mean, I think that TNA, trying to cut his salary and basically tell him that he wasn't a needed part of the company, really lit a fire under him, and it almost, was able to bring back the AJ Styles that people remember from the early days of TNA, when every time you saw one of his matches, you were seeing something that you had never seen before. I think the reason for this match was what we saw on SmackDown this week, where basically Daniel Bryan fired AJ Styles for beating up Shane McMahon in the back. Basically, AJ was upset that he thought he deserved to be in the main event of WrestleMania. He won a match beating Luke Harper to say that he was going to WrestleMania to be in the main event, only for it to be taken away from Shane McMahon, which is funny because for weeks and weeks and weeks, Shane was not on Talking Smack, but AJ Styles would fight with Daniel Bryan over the fact that Daniel Bryan was not as good as Shane, and if Shane was here, Shane would give him what he wanted. And here comes Shane, and he takes it away. When AJ came back after losing the match against Randy Orton, where he was the clear-cut, this is it for the number one contender, the Royal Rumble versus the SmackDown number one contender. He lost the match, and when he came back, he blew up. He blew up, saying that basically, they had blown his opportunity. He was the man, and, they didn't want to give it to him anymore. With Daniel Bryan firing AJ, there's been rumors for a while that AJ really is blown up on SmackDown and is 10 times a wrestler than they really thought he was when they moved him. Which just shows you that he just keeps getting better with time. And they want to move him over to the Monday Night Raw side and able to sort of shake things up and be able to get him there. I don't really right now see AJ jumping to Raw until after WrestleMania. But definitely in my mind, I could see Shane losing at WrestleMania. And then right off the bat, Stephanie brings AJ Styles to Raw the night after WrestleMania to give it a big bump and give people, talking about how great WrestleMania was the night before, and now how they're changing things up already. They're kicking things off, and they're moving in the right direction. If you go back to last year, AJ Styles wrestling in his first WrestleMania, losing his match to Chris Jericho, left a lot of people, bummed after WrestleMania, thinking, how in the world can you miss the boat on this guy? And they come out the next night, and he wins to be the #1 contender to fight Roman Reigns for the championship at the first pay-per-view coming out of Royal Rumble. That's a real big deal. Of course, AJ wouldn't beat Roman, and at that time, I don't think anybody was supposed to, because of the fact that they were looking for somebody to get Roman Reigns over the hump of being, that #1 guy. He had beat Daniel Bryan, he had beat Triple H, having him beat AJ Styles, one of the most popular guys on the roster at the time. Would that be able to get there? And as we've seen, now here we are going into WrestleMania 33, he's still not there. And they're already saying that the plans are for WrestleMania 34 is for Roman to main event against Brock Lesnar. We already made a video about that early this morning. You can check that out, but I don't think the fans are going to be ready to embrace Roman Reigns even next year unless we get, the heel turn that we've all been looking for. Definitely this match, Shane's going to want to get some shit in. He's definitely going to want to let AJ get some shit in. I think that this should be a high-profile match at WrestleMania. Once we get over the fact that AJ's not wrestling for a championship or not wrestling against a true WWE superstar on the roster, I think we're going to settle down and this is going to be a good match. As long as they don't put huge expectations on it, like some sort of a stipulation or something like that. Just keep it one-on-one. Shane's always had good matches throughout his run in WWE. But last year in the Hell in a Cell, I don't really think it delivered. And it wasn't what it was supposed to be, especially with WWE saying that was the reason people came to WrestleMania. People were definitely excited and people were definitely pumped to see Shane since he'd been gone and he'd been out of the company for so long. But I don't know. I mean, he's on SmackDown a lot. I really thought that when they did the brand split, nobody even really knows what Shane's job is in WWE. If he's just an on-screen character, a lot like when Eric Bischoff came over from WCW, or if he does have some sort of behind-the-scenes sort of role. He had a real job there in the past, but he gave it up when he saw that Triple H and Stephanie would be gaining the company. And of course, this year we had the article come out of basically thinking that, what if Shane was the guy to take over the company? Would they be going down the same road that they were going now? And, Shane had already tried to come back once, and then it sort of been cock-blocked by Stephanie and Triple H. And it's up in the world about what's going to happen with this company soon. A lot of the stuff that went down with Shane and Steph with their promos, they were laying it in thick because they knew that would get a reaction out of the other one. I mean, Shane wants to leave the company to his sons. Stephanie wants to run the company for her own. And what it comes down to is what Vince wants to do with it once it's all said and done. It's almost like Stephanie and Hunter have been there the whole time, and they have a chain of what's going to happen in the future. And that looks like where it's going, but Shane might change it. Shane might pack his bags up and Shane might leave tomorrow. Who knows? So, we'll see. I think that this definitely is going to be a good match, but I think sometime between now and WrestleMania, some shit that they might do might make you want to moan and groan, but Shane's always delivered. You got to give it to him. People thought it was kind of shitty, when he had his, concussion, at Survivor Series, in that one match, taking the, did he take the spear or the Superman punch? I think he took the spear when he was coming off the top. Pretty cool fucking move. But, when somebody has to get carried out in a body bag, basically, at the end of the match, that's not fun. So, we'll see it. WrestleMania, right up around the corner. Peace out, everybody.